Hey everybody, Poker Dad here, with another episode of, I'll call it an episode of a session review. This session review is from NL25 Zone Poker that I played Sunday morning slash afternoon. Anyway, what I have done here in this session review, I'll try and go through the hands as quickly as possible, because there are 37 hands, and these hands, the pot saw a total of 20 big blinds or more. And without further ado, I will jump into the hand review and we'll see where maybe I went wrong or maybe where I went right, where I got unlucky, where I got lucky. We'll see. Anyway, first hand we have here is 6-5 suited. And by the way, thank you so much for watching. I do appreciate it, by the way. So here we have 6-5 of hearts here in the big blind. And we get an open raise here from the middle position player. And we're definitely going to call it our 6-5 of hearts. And here we get a gut shot. We need a 4 to hit a straight. So of course we're going to check here. And our opponent bets. And our opponent bets about a 2/3 pot size bet. I definitely think we can continue here with the top end of the straight here. We definitely don't want to fold. So we call it. And a 10 of hearts comes out. We check. And our opponent checks back here. And now a 3 of hearts comes out. So at this point of the hand, it's really best just at this point to bluff, since we know that we can't win with a with a high card of 6. So I throw out a half pot bet here. And the reason why I throw out a half pot bet is because I did the population analysis, and it appears to be that a half pot bet is really all that's needed to make profit here, a higher percentage of the time. Our break-even percentage here is 33% with a half pot bet, and players are folding a little bit more than 40% of the time in these spots, sometimes even higher. So there's no reason to bet more than a half pot bet, and we can, as long as we get a fold 1 out of every 3 times, then we're profitable. So I throw out the half pot bet here to get the folds with my 6 high, and unfortunately my opponent does happen to call, and he calls with a pair of 8s here. So he takes it down, which is fine. Like I said, we just have to get this right 1 out of every 3 times. This is one of the times we don't get it, but there's really no other options there. Next hand we have is Ace-Jack offsuit. We open it up from under the gun. And a call comes in from middle position, and we get another call from the button. And we go 4 ways here. Not a great spot for Ace-Jack offsuit here. It doesn't really play well multi-way. Much better to have a suited ace here. But we do get top pair, which is pretty nice. And it gets checked to us here, so we definitely want to throw out a bet. I throw out a really small underbet here of 4 big blinds, and the reason I do that is because it is 4 ways here. If it were 3 ways, I would do a half pot bet, but with it being 4 ways, should make it a little bit smaller, so we make it 20%, so 4 big blinds. And we get a call, and we get 2 calls, so we go 3 ways now, which is, again, fine. We have top pair, top kicker, which is still we're in a good spot. And our opponent checks to us here. Again, we want to throw out a small bet. Now, I don't know why I threw out this small bet here. I don't think this smallish of a bet was really necessary here. But I think my biggest concern was that somebody possibly had a 2 that would have called me here. But now that I look back at this here, I don't really like this small bet. I think I would have rather I bet bigger here. Because there are draws out here as well. I would have rather see myself actually bet bigger here than 4 big blinds. We get a call. And this guy comes along as well. So that's what this small bet does here. And I don't think our hand was that vulnerable that I need to underbet here. I think I could try and bet for value with top pair, top kicker. 5 of spades comes out. And again, I decide to underbet here. I mean, I know it's a multi-way pot, but I think at this point here, I just playing this like a little bit too conservative. I don't like the underbets. Guy does a raise here. And I decide to fold, just thinking that he's probably going to have a 2, which is what would have called here on the flop. Now the cool thing is, because it's ignition, and I grabbed these hands from their database, we can see what he had. So let's take a look. And he had Jack Queen. So look at that. See, this was we can kind of blame my sizing here on this particular hand, because if I would have bet half pot, likely this guy's just going to call. We're going to take down his pot. So the small sizing on the turn and river was not very good, and we let this guy raise us with a worse jack that we could have won this hand with. So there you go. That's I don't like the way I played that hand, and now we know after after reviewing it. And I knew that right even before even seeing this here. My thought process was he could have a 2, and truth is he probably would have raised a 2 on a turn. Here we have ace-7 suited from the big blind. And we get it open here from the cutoff. And we call it from the big blind. And we have a backdoor nut flush draw here. We check. Our opponent bets into us a pot-sized bet. And we decide to raise it here. So now we're looking at this particular hand. I don't like this raise at all to a pot-sized bet. This guy is super deep, first of all. Second of all, he just did a pot-sized bet, and we have a backdoor draw. I think we could definitely call call it here, but I mean, I think it's even reasonable. I mean, let's see. There's also a gut shot here as well. So, I still don't like the raise, but I think we should definitely call. I think we have enough equity, enough pride odds to call this hand with a backdoor nut flush draw and a gut shot. But I don't think the check raise is necessary here on a pot size bet. Now, you could say that this is better for our range, and we might have some fold equity here. But we have enough implied odds. I think we could just call this here. We don't have to raise it instead of potentially now pricing ourselves out of this hand. He calls it. And now we hit a pair, so this is actually really bad for us because now the board is 4 cards to a straight. We check it, our opponent checks back, and then a jack hits on the river. With a pair of 7s, now really there's only one option, that's a check. Hope it goes check check, and we take it down. It does go check check, but our opponent had a 10. So in retrospect, pretty bad luck here in this hand because when we raise it. Kind of surprising that a king 10 would actually call. Even though he has top pair, he has no draws at all. So he's kind of stuck with his 10 and hoping that he gets the king. So it's a pretty bad call by him, I think. I shouldn't say bad call, but it's a marginal call. Pot got really big for somebody who has a pair of 10s here. Here we have ace-8 offsuit from the big blind. We isolate here to the limper. And it looks like we're going to go multi-way here. And we completely miss on this flop. And he bets and we fold. So some hands like this will end up being in the review because of the fact that I filtered the pot size as opposed to if I'm involved in the final pot. So we'll skip past this, of course. We don't really care what else happened in this hand. Here I'm going to open up from the cutoff, 3 big blinds. And we get a 3-bet here from the small blind. Definitely going to be calling ace-jack suited here. Wouldn't be 4-betting. Would just be calling the 3-bet here. And we get top pair. Decent kicker. We also have like a backdoorish straight draw as well. Our opponent leads into us, which is, pretty standard in this spot. We're definitely going to call it with our top pair. 6 comes out. He checks. Now we have the option of checking behind or betting here. When I look at this particular hand, is it vulnerable? I don't think it's that vulnerable of a hand, actually, that I could actually check back here. Sure, we could end up getting sucked out by a club, but it's less likely he has a club when he 3-bets here, especially with an 8, a club draw. Because there being an ace of clubs out there, could he have something like queen jack suited or king queen suited here sometimes with the clubs? Yeah, we could be worried about something like that. But overall, I shouldn't be too worried about it. I can actually check back this ace here just to protect my checking range here on the turn and not always be betting here. But I could also bet for value as well. So this really could go either way here. I do decide to bet, and I put out a 3/4 pot bet here for value, and my opponent folds it. So I was curious to see what he had. He had queen, so pretty disciplined fold by him. It makes you wonder if we could have gotten more value if we do check behind here. Definitely something to think about because our hand really was not very vulnerable at all with already having top pair there. That we could actually check and then he can bet and we can call and maybe get a little more value. Because if we check back, he's going to feel really good with his queens there. Of course, now he could have gotten a queen and that would have been really terrible for us. But I think overall we could have checked back, but maybe betting still is the right play there. Here we isolate with the 8-9 suited. And actually, that's actually a really interesting one. I'd like to just go back. I'm going to tag this, and I'm going to check this one out on Card Runners EV when I have time. Anyway. And I just want to know what's the best play there. Is betting or checking the best play there? The most exploitable play, really. Here, of course, we isolate. And again, we go multi-way. And we get a backdoor flush draw. And we do get also a pair of 9s. So when it checks, it doesn't check around. He bets, so we're definitely going to call here. We're not going to fold with backdoor equity plus we have the pair as well on a paired board. 10 comes out, so this now also gives us a gut shot. We lose our flush draw, but we do have a gut shot. Three big blind bet comes in. Definitely just going to be calling this. And 8 comes out here, so now we have 2 pair, and he bets, and I actually call it. So this was a mistake of mine, and I remember making this mistake, and it was just such a foolish, dumb mistake. Now his bet size is really small, which is one of the reasons that I called it, but I called it in my brain for whatever reason, registered that I have 2 pair, 8s and 9s, but obviously that's a huge mistake because there's a pair of queens already on the board, so really all I had was a pair of 9s. So if my brain was operating to its full functionality, I obviously would have folded this hand here, so that's a waste of 8 big blinds that I lost on this hand. My opponent had a full house. Here we isolate with 8-5 offsuit. And we go heads up versus the big blind player. And we completely whiff on this board here. Our opponent checks. Definitely want to just check back here. Queen of clubs comes out, which does improve us to a flush draw. Not a great flush draw, of course. Don't really want to even think about this as a flush draw. We do have a gut shot as well. Our opponent bets into us here, so I mean we have the option of calling or folding here. You know, I think his bet is large enough for us to just not chase a king or a club. Because if a club comes out, you know, we're never going to feel good about it with a 5 of clubs here. And we only have 4 outs with the king here. An ace comes out. You know, if an ace comes out, that's really not great either if he has a king, because then he would have a straight. So we really only have 4 outs here. And I think for a 27% pot odds, I don't think our equity is good enough here to call. So I think we should just fold his hand. And unfortunately, I do call it. I don't know why. A 2 comes out, he bets, we fold. So I definitely don't like this call. And he did have a king. So yeah, I definitely don't like this call here. This is why, again, why I like doing this. See, I'm trying to tell myself what I should do, and if I only would have done it in game. Pocket aces. Get an open here from the middle position. And cutoff comes along, so I'm definitely going to 3-bet here. I 3-bet a little bit on the larger side with two players. And unfortunately, they both decide to come along. So this really isn't that great because, you know, aces, you know, hands like aces are just not a great multi-way hand. And flop comes out, an interesting flop with 2 low-end cards. We'd have a flush draw out here, and we have a 10. It does check to us here, so we definitely got to throw out a c-bet here. In a 3-bet pot here, really we should be under-betting in this spot. And I don't do that. And I think the reason why I bet so big here is I really wanted to fold somebody out with my aces because my hand is pretty vulnerable in the multi-way pot. It's just much better heads up. So I kind of wanted to knock at least one person out of here in this spot. And we do. Okay, so we are successful in that. And aces are strong enough here for me to bet big that I don't have to underbet. So actually, I'm fine with that bet. Fortunately, the 3rd heart comes out, and that's kind of discerning because that's definitely something that this person would call with here, would be hearts to possibly have a flush now, and it kind of sucks because we don't have a heart. So, and don't forget he did call a 3-bet. So that's the one thing to think about, though, is he did call a 3-bet. So he's going to have less suited hearts, you know, in his range, but he'll still have them. You know, he might still call a 3-bet with that. He was the opener as well from the middle position. So the more I think about it now, it's probably not as likely he has hearts. We bet, and he shoves all in. And there's really no way I could ever call this bet here. I got to fold this one out without having any hearts. If I did have an ace of hearts here, I could definitely call this here. But without having an ace of hearts, this just becomes a clear fold. And let's take a look. And he did have the flush. He had enough flush. So we didn't have the ace of hearts because he did. So this was a good read by me. And yeah, I don't know why I didn't say, okay, he could still have a flush draw with the ace of hearts because we didn't have one anyway. Here we open up ace-7 suited from the middle position. Get a call from the button. We have backdoor flush draw, so definitely want to c-bet here. And I do about 2/3 pot. Opponent calls. 10 comes out, so our hand doesn't improve here, so we could just check fold here. When our opponent checks and a jack comes out, definitely want to throw out a bet here. Sure, ace high could be good some of the times, but he could always have a better ace high here. You know, our ace high is kind of weak with the 7 kicker. So, well, actually, the 7 kicker actually wouldn't even play here. So here's a mistake, right? I bet here. I don't have to bet here. Why? Because the kicker isn't in play. And this is something I need to think about. Because queen 10-10 jack is here. So if I have ace high, I'm never folding out better here. Now, could I be doing this for protection? It's just going to end up being a chop anyway at this point. Maybe I underbet here or something like that. But what am I really folding out? So he's going to call me with, it just doesn't make any sense because I'm thinking about the 7 kicker, but the 7 kicker is not in play here because the hand is jack 10-10 queen ace. So actually, really, this bluff here is not needed. It can go check, and ace high chops. But anyway, we bet. My opponent calls, and he has ace king, so he has a straight. So obviously we were never going to fold anyway. But this is actually a pretty bad bluff here, and that cost me. I mean, that cost me what? That cost me another 8 big blinds. So when we think about the hands I've been losing here, a few of them have just been on mistakes of really not paying attention, of not realizing that the 7 does not matter because it's ace high because of what's on the board, and the kicker doesn't matter. So pretty bad bluff there. We could just go check and possibly chop some of the time. As happens, he has a straight, so it doesn't matter anyway. Ace queen suited here from the big blind. We get an open from the middle position player. And we, of course, are going to raise it here with a raise queen suited. And we get a call. We get a gut shot here. We, of course, are going to throw out a c-bet here. To the nuts out of position. Half pot. And our opponent raises us here. And I think this is a spot. I mean, with no hearts, an ace, we're not going to love an ace coming out on this board because what? He could have queen 10 maybe. That would end up getting, it's less likely because we have a queen. I think we can just fold this up here on a draw to a raise. This is a pretty hefty size raise here in a 3-bet pot as well. A pretty big raise for a 3-bet pot, so I think we can just fold this up. I call it. So I don't like that call. I think I'd rather just fold here in a 3-bet pot. No reason to be chasing straights in 3-bet pots. This should just be an easy fold. 2 comes out, because now what's going to happen? We're going to check, he's going to bet, we're going to fold if we don't hit it. So what I'm saying is I have to call this. Not only do I have to, when I call this bet, I need to see that I have improved to the straight on the turn. And that's why it's just such a pointless call. Just fold it there. I don't have any equity at this particular point. Sure, I have implied odds, but there are not even a lot because we're never going to want to see an ace come out there. We're never going to want to see a queen come out there. We're only going to want to see a 10 come out there. So that's 4 outs. Just fold it up. So I really don't like that. Wasted. Look at this. Look how much money I lost on this hand, and look how much money specifically I lost on this flop. So what is this? About 21 big blinds. Making that call. I don't like it. I don't like the play at all. As such, he bluffed us, but that's okay. It doesn't matter. He bluffed us, but we didn't have equity either. So. In fact, this hand was better. He had more outs than us. Made more sense for him than it does for us. Okay. Here we're going to open it up from the cutoff with ace-king offsuit. 3-bet comes in. We're definitely going to 4-bet here with our ace-queen offsuit. And our opponent calls. We miss here. So we're definitely just going to check back. 10 comes out to improve us to a gut shot. He bets into us here. And again, this is just a spot to fold. And we're not going to call up and all in with a gut shot. And he had ace-queen. He had a gut shot too. So that's okay by him making that gigantic bet, and risky on his part, of course, to go all in. I mean, this was, I think actually that was a terrible bet. That was a terrible all in, way too risky. In the 3-bet pot, he doesn't have a flush draw to shove all in like that. I think that's a pretty bad all in by him, but it worked out for him because I did not have any kind of pairs or anything. Obviously, any kind of pair, above. If I had a pair of queens, pair of kings, pair of aces, I'm easily calling that hand. And you think about it, I 4-bet him too, so that was a really risky bet. I'm really shocked he did that. But I guess he's thinking because I check back on the flop, obviously I don't have an overpair. So, still, I mean, all in's pretty brutal, but it's all right. Whatever it is, what it is. Either way, I made the right play. We're going to 3-bet here with the king-queen suited. Call comes in. And we have top pair. We were the 3-better here. My hand is not vulnerable here, so I definitely don't have to c-bet out of position here. So I do decide to check. And my opponent checks back. 10 comes out, and now I think it's the right time to throw out a bet here. Definitely want to throw out a delayed c-bet with top pair. Because my hand is a little more vulnerable now that there are 2 spades out here. We don't want to give a free card here on the turn. So I throw out around a 3/4 pot bet approximately. Opponent calls. And there's a 4. So I think this is fine. Just want to throw out another value bet here. And I do. 40 big blinds into 56. I could even make it even bigger here. Maybe this was even not big enough. And my opponent folds, so. Ace-jack he had. So he was calling a gut shot on the turn. Queen 10 suited here from the small blind. We isolate. Get a call. Backdoor flush draw here. Not super strong to warrant a c-bet here. So, but we can check call. So we check. Our opponent checks back. That's fine. Now we improve to a flush draw. Definitely want to throw out a delayed c-bet here. About half pot. And we do. Our opponent calls us. And jack comes out. We miss. We just want to actually throw out another bluff here. Half pot to take it down. We do half pot. And unfortunately, our opponent does call us here. And we end up chopping with queen 10. Ace-4 suited here from the big blind. We just call. Have a nut flush draw. Our opponent bets into us because they were the PFR. And I decided to 3-bet here with a nut flush draw, which I think is pretty standard. All right, now our opponent decides to re-raise us. And here in this spot, I think we just fold up our draw. But I call it. So again, this is me. I really don't like this because I feel like what I'm doing here in these spots is I'm chasing draws. And, he bets us. We raise him. He 3-bets us. I think at that point, I got to do one of 2 things here. Either shove my ace-4 here or fold. Calling, I don't think makes much sense because, again, if I don't improve to my flush here on the turn, I'm folding to a bet of his. So calling doesn't make sense. I think we either shove them all in here with our nut flush, or we, which he may fold to, or we fold. I don't like this call at all. So this is already, I think, 4 times I've seen this happen so far in this session review. And then a jack comes out, and what are we going to do? He shoves us. We have to fold. And it puts us in a terrible situation when we just call there. And he has aces. Here we have queens. And we are definitely going to 3-bet here. 12 big blinds. and goes heads up, which is good. Second pair here, so our hand really is not very vulnerable, out of position. We're okay with check calling queens here. We check, our opponent checks back. Sevens come out, now we definitely want to bet for value. I bet 18 big blinds. I think I'm still betting too small. I need to be betting a little bit bigger than this. I don't like this bet here. I'd like to bet a little bit bigger. He doesn't have a king. If he had a king, he definitely would have raised here. Don't know the fact that the board is 8-6-7, so if he has a hand like 10-9, he's now hit a straight. But you think maybe even 10-9 would actually bet there on the flop. He raises us. This puts us in a really, really tough spot to call with second pair at this point. I think we just need to fold our queens. And I do. And he has a set of 7, so. Now we have 7s. We open it up. And we go heads up. Pair of 7s out of position. Our hand is definitely vulnerable. Definitely want to throw out a c-bet here. I do. $4 and 4.68 big blinds. Call comes in. Now there's a queen. Again, my hand is vulnerable. I definitely want to bet again. But I definitely want to throw out a smaller bet here, under bet. I do 4 big blinds, really small, into a pot of 16.76. Our opponent raises us here, and then of course, when we get raised, even though it's a min raise, we can just fold the 7s. And I do. Very strange raise. The guy has ace-5 offsuit. I mean, we could have easily had an ace. Here we have Jack-8 suited from the small blind. Back to a flush draw on a paired board. Spot here, we can just check call it. Goes check, check. We improve to the flush draw. It is a double paired board, but we definitely want to bet here. We both throw out a half-pot bet. Our opponent calls. And a 9 comes out. Again, we just definitely want to bet here, half pot. And our opponent calls, unfortunately. And our opponent called with ace high. How's that, huh? That's crazy. That's rough when he calls with ace-5, ace high. Here we get pocket aces from the big blind. There's definitely get a 3-bet here, up to 12 big blinds. He 4-bets us. We shove all in. He calls. And it's aces versus kings. Nothing much to analyze there. Here we 3-bet ace-5 suited from the button. Get a call. We have top pair, weak kicker, no backdoor flush draw. We also do have a gut shot as well. Definitely going to c-bet here. And we do. Half pot. I wonder why I did half pot here. I don't really understand the half pot bet. Should have bet bigger. Our opponent calls. 9. Check. Should bet here again. Definitely bet for value. I bet under bet. I don't understand this under bet either. I don't like this bet. I should be betting for value with top pair. I know it's a weak kicker, but still top pair. I should be betting for value here. 6 comes out. My opponent docks into us. I'm just going to fold this up. Donks on the river are usually pretty strong. And as you can see, they are very strong in this spot. Open comes from under the gun. We're going to definitely 3-bet our ace-queen offsuit. Call comes in. And don't really connect too well to this board here. We can just check fold it. Goes check, check. Now we hit a queen. So we're feeling pretty good that we have top pair here. Definitely a bet for value. Such a small bet. I really don't like this bet at all. What the hell is the point of this bet? If I'm not going to bet bigger and bet more for value, then why am I even betting? This is pathetic. I don't like this at all. All right, this is something I really need to fix in my game, because if I'm going to be making some of these bad calls, well, I got to bet for value a little bit bigger. This is terrible. I mean, what am I afraid of here? I should be completely betting for value here. He doesn't have jacks. Maybe he has a 2. Who cares if he has a 2? So what does it matter, right? We have a heart. What are we worried about here? I don't like it at all. He calls. I mean, we could have bet for so much more here and get more value. Queen comes out. Look now. So, right? Now we bet a little bit bigger. Even this, I don't like this bet sizing. It's still too small. And he calls. I mean, think about it. He actually has a jack. So, we actually get really lucky on this hand. But we could have gotten so much value here from him by betting bigger. We could have gotten paid all in on this hand. If we could have gotten all the stacks in here Even with checking on the flop, if I would have bet bigger, the small bet sizing was really, really bad. I don't like that, and I really need to be betting bigger. This is something I've gone over with my coach, and still, this is a session from yesterday. I'm still not betting big enough. It's a major leak I have to resolve. Pocket aces here for middle position. Open it up. Get a call. Check. Definitely want to bet here. Bet big again. 5 big blinds. It's a lot better. Get a call. 6 comes out. He leads into us. So at this point here, I remembered his hand, and I'm saying he would be leading into us with a 6. I call it, of course. I'm not going to be folding my aces here. 10 comes out, which would complete a flush. He bets into us again here, super small. I just got to call my aces here and just hope to take it down with top pair. I do have a club, which was helpful, but yeah, he did actually have a full house in here, and he did have a 6. So, but I feel like I just can't fold there for such a small bet with top pair. Here we have 8s. We call. Goes multi-way, not great, but we do get a set, which is pretty nice. And the open raiser bets half pot. I decided to just call here. I feel like my hand is not really that vulnerable. And maybe we can get this guy to come along now. I'm feeling pretty good about my set, despite the fact that there is spades out there, which I don't love, of course. But I decide not to raise. Third spade does come in. Not really happy about this. But when it checks around to me here, I think this is a clear value bet. I want to bet pretty big here. Feel pretty good about the fact that somebody does not have a flush. I also do have a spade as well, which decreases the amount of spades that are out there. So I throw out a 16.48 big blind bet, which I think is fine multi-way. And I take it down. Actually, I remember this hand was pretty funny because the rabbit card came out and it was another 8. That would have been crazy. Another pair of 8s. We're going to isolate. This time, no set, but we do get a open-ender. Our opponent checks. We bet 6 big blinds at a 9.4. I think that's perfectly fine here on the flop. We don't have top pair, but we definitely want to bet the 8s here with the open-ender as well. Get a call. Jack comes out, so now we have improved to a straight. Definitely want to see myself bet big here. This guy only has 39 big blinds left with 21 left in the middle. So, I mean, this is a spot here that I could really just shove them all in. And that's what I do. I do shove them all in and he folds. But I think that's the right play there. You know, maybe if I wanted to go another route here and didn't want to shove them all in, and I could have, like, say, bet, maybe I bet like 10 big blinds here and then shove them all in on the, I guess I could do something like that. If 10 big blinds would leave me with 20. I could do something like that. 10 to 12 big blind bet here. Bet half pot and then shove them all in on the river to keep him in, to get his whole stack. Could have been another option there. But this hand is like, it's a straight, but it's pretty vulnerable straight actually because it's a 1-card straight. So 10-9 suited here. Get a call. So this is a pretty cool hand. We have top pair and we have a flush draw, and we have a backdoor straight draw as well. So we have tons of outs here. Definitely want to bet. Want to bet for value. I bet 4.2 into 6.4. Not bad. Get a call. Queen comes out, so definitely our 9 is a little bit devalued now. I could check back here or I can bet. Because I have all the draws here, I decided to bet because now we've also improved to even a better gut shot. We still have our flush draw. I mean, our hand is still really, really strong here that we want to bet. I bet half pot, which I think is fine. I don't have to bet too big here. And our opponent raises us. So this is a really tough spot. We have so many implied odds here. I don't think we can fold in this spot. We have the straight draw, we have the flush draw, and we have second pair. So I think we could actually call this bet here. There are, you know, I think we should definitely call this bet here. In fact, I think folding would be a mistake, and I folded. I don't like that fold to this 3-bet. Is the 3-bet a little bit big? Sure, but we have so many outs here left to go with the straight and the flush draw, and the fact that we have a pair of 9s as well. I mean, another 9 hits on the river. We have 3 9s. So I think this was a mistake. And what did he have? He had a gut shot as well. Yeah, I really don't like this fold at all. This fold, there was some hands that I called that I should have folded. This is a hand I absolutely 100% should have called with so many outs. I don't like that fold at all. Here we have pocket tens. Open it up, get a call from the button. Hit a set, pretty good way to start. I throw out a pretty standard opening bet here. I could bet bigger. At a positional, I think this is fine. The board is still a little bit wet here, even though we have a set. There are potential straights out here with Queen 9. Or 9-7, of course. But we have a set. Our opponent calls. 2 of spades comes out. Definitely I want to see myself bet a lot bigger here. And yeah, I like it. Pot size bet. I love this size bet. Perfect. Opponent calls. 5 comes out. And again, I just need the bet for value here. Another pot size bet would be perfectly fine here. I think we do a pot size bet, maybe even a little bit smaller. 47 big blinds. Nothing less than 47 big blinds, please. Ooh, I hate this bet. What am I doing here in this spot? I don't understand this. Why am I betting so small? Get value, damn it. Why do I keep doing this? Why would I bet so small in this spot here? Bet pot, bet 47 big blinds. Stop betting so small. I really am getting upset watching this hand review because I am leaving so much money on the table here. My opponent raises. Thank God he does me the favor by raising, okay? But now remember this hand here. I just called it. Again, why am I just calling it here? What is beating me? Is it possible he has a pair of jacks and now has a set of jacks? It's so unlikely. He didn't 3-bet me. What are the chances he's calling with a pair of jacks here? Okay? So, I have the nuts here. At this point when he raises me, I just got to shove them all in and grab his whole entire stack. I don't know what the hell I was doing here by just calling. Pretty bad. He had a set of 8s. We won set over set. God, I lost so much value on this hand. I could have made so much more on this hand here. Not happy with it. I won the hand, great, but boy, I could have won so much more. I really don't like, because I'm trying to work on this bet sizing, betting bigger, and I'm still betting so small, and I am not getting the value I need to get to cover for these losses so I can be winning for some of these bad losses I've had, or some of these bluffs that don't work out. I got to get value somewhere, right? So if I'm losing these hands, I got to get value on my good hands. That's terrible. 10-9 offsuit here from the button. I'm getting tilted doing this. Thank God I'm not playing tonight. Open up 2 big blinds. Get a call. Here we have an open-ender. And we're multi-way, by the way. Check, check. I bet. Definitely going to bet with my open-ender here from the button. And we fold that one guy. This guy raises. Definitely okay with calling with the open-ender here. We have enough outs. Definitely want to see a turn. So this is a spot I'm definitely okay with calling the 3-bet here. So like flushes, I'm okay doing that with flushes and open-enders, just not with gut shots. But we do miss here, so when he bets to us, we should just be folding this hand. And he did with a pair of 8s. Some of these raises have been pretty weird, which we've been seeing. But players are more likely to do these types of things on the flop with a hand like 8-6. On the turn and on the river, population analysis shows that mostly it's 2-pair or better. Here we have King Jack suited from under the gun. I'm going to open it up. And we have a backdoor flush draw. This is one we could definitely just check call here. We could even check fold it, but it's strong enough to check call. We check. Our opponent checks back. Queen comes out now. Definitely want to throw out a bet here. Delayed C-bet bluff. And we do. Half pot, which is fine. Our opponent calls it. And again, we want to throw out another bet here. We bet. Our opponent raises us, and of course, we're definitely going to fold. Ace-King offsuit. Open it up. Get a call. Top pair, great spot for us here. Great spot to bet for value. We check. He checks, and we bet. 5 big blinds into 7, that's okay. 10 comes out. We have a gut shot now to go along with our top pair. Opponent checks. Definitely want to bet big again here. I would love to see something like 15 big blinds. I would love to see it. Am I going to see it? No. What do I see? A minuscule half pot bet. What am I doing here? Why am I betting half pot in this spot? Please explain to me why am I betting half pot with top pair? I have a gut shot. What in God's name am I doing? What in God's name am I doing? My opponent raises it. Of course I got to call this here, right? No, and I fold. What am I doing? Why? Because of the off chance he has ace queen? So what if he has ace queen? So what if he even has a jack? I don't like it. I guess I'm just afraid he has a jack here, and that's why I'm betting half pot. I don't like it. Maybe the fold is okay, because he could have jack and he could have ace queen. But I don't like the small bet. I don't like the small bet. He has king jack, fine. I don't like the small bet, though. You know, if I bet big and he raises here, folding would make more sense. I just don't like that small bet. Even though what happened here happened, I don't like the small bet with top pair. Sure, he could have a jack, but he could have a lot of other things too. He could have worse king. Okay. Here's a limp, and we can complete here, or we can isolate. Actually, no, we should just be completing here. I remember this was a mistake. I should not have been isolating the spot. Mistake hand, and a mistake hand coming into this particular review is not a good situation. And this guy here calls. 1 second. So he calls us here. Backdoor flush draw. This spot here, I could just easily just check fold this here. It's just not strong enough of a hand to check call. So I check. He checks back. Now I'm going to turn this into a bluff here. And remember, again, this hand should never have been isolated in the first place. And we have to bluff on the river. We bet. He calls, and he has an ace. So this hand was a mistake just because of the isolation. I never should have isolated here. Another mistake. Look at all the hands in this session that I've made mistakes and I've lost so much money on. You know, this is part of the problem that I'm having these days is because these mistakes are costing me. And when you add in the fact that I'm not getting value for my good hand, that's why I'm on such a downswing right now. Here we have 9-4 offsuit. And of course, it's going to be one pot. And we get top pair, weak kicker. Our opponent bets into us one big blind. Of course, we're just going to call it. Get trips now. Our opponent bets, he actually overbets here. Definitely going to call it, though. And the king comes out. Our opponent bets pretty big. 10 big blinds. Those are the types of bets I should be making. 10 big blinds into 13. Of course, I'm going to call it. And he had, he bluffed. So we got it. We have jacks, small blind. We're going to 3-bet. This guy 3-bet. So, sorry. So this guy 3-bet. So we can call a 4-bet here. I decided just to call it. It goes 3 ways. We get a set. Beautiful. Actually, we get a full house. Even better. So I decided, because I'm completely dominating here, and I'm out of position. And this guy 3-bet too. I'd rather just check around to him, let him bet. Better yet, this guy ends up betting. Pretty small bet. This guy calls, even better. So now I decide to raise it up here. Pretty small raise on my part. I should have raised bigger. This guy calls. Ace comes out, and I decide to shove him all in. Okay, I decided to shove him all in because he only had 68 big blinds left, and there were 82 big blinds in the middle. So really, to me, the only play here is really to shove all in. Plus, he could have an ace that he'll call with as well. So I shoved them all in. He called. And it worked out. He had enough flush draw on top pair. So we took this one down. We got max value on this one, thank God. We have Jack 10. I'm going to call the 2 big blind open. And we hit trips. Opponent checks to us. We're going to bet. Bet three big blinds. I like it. Nice and big. Opponent calls. He checks. Bet big again. 8 big blinds. 7. All right, I'll take it. 7's fine. He calls. And we have a full house. We check. He checks. And I'd like to see me bet here 21 big blinds. I got the nuts. 21 big blinds is what I want to see, or more. 19. I mean, it's not bad. 19's okay. 19's okay. He calls it. And, of course, we take it down, so. He had 3 7s. That's okay. I mean, that's fine. Here we open with 6s. Get a 3-bet. We call the 3-bet. And he comes along too, and that kind of sucks that this guy comes along. If I knew this guy would come along, I never would have called the 6s, but obviously I don't know that. Most likely this guy usually would fold in that situation. Bet kind of miss this board here. But when they check around to me, I definitely want to bet here. Just a small underbet with a vulnerable pair. This guy raises, and that's it. We're done. He bluffed us off with a pair of threes. What a wacky play. But, I mean, we have to fold there. Here we have twos. We're just going to call. And we miss this board. Again, situation like last one. We have a vulnerable pair. I definitely want to underbet here. And we do. And we get a call. Opponent checks to us. We're still vulnerable here, so we can definitely throw out another underbet. And I do. I think this is a little bit too big, though. I think this bet was too big. I think I got to bet here like 2 or 3 big blinds at most. Opponent calls, and then we're just going to go check, and I probably lose in this situation with tens, yeah. So I bet too much. I bet too big there on the turn. Pocket sevens. I open up with 3 big blind open. Call from the button. And in this spot here, I definitely want to throw out a c-bet here. Although you can make an argument for me not to throw out a c-bet here because there is a possible straight here on the board. Unlikely. He doesn't have 2-5, so there's no straight on the board. Let's forget I just said that. So we definitely need to bet here. Bet here about 2/3 pot. I do. Opponent calls. King comes out here. So I could bet or I can check. Again, my hand's pretty vulnerable. I want to throw out a small underbet here. I do 4 big blinds. I think that's fine. Opponent calls. 7 comes out. Pretty nice spot. Hit a set. Definitely want to bet for value here. At least 21 big blinds. I bet pot even better. And unfortunately, my opponent folds. Let's see what he had. Queen 2. I mean, he's definitely going to fold that. Pocket twos. Called. We hit a set. So he bets. I decide just to call. And I called because the board is so dry. There's no draws or anything like that here. So my hand isn't feeling very vulnerable with a set of twos. 8 comes out here. Not the best card. We check again, of course, and our opponent checks back. So kind of a crappy situation because then, as you can see, a 7 comes out to complete a draw. There's a 1-card straight draw here and a flush draw. Not the best situation, but I definitely do want to bet here with my set. Opponent calls, and he takes it down with a straight. So kind of unlucky there, but I think we played that hand fine. Middle position opens. This is the last hand of the video, by the way. Middle position opens. We 3-bet here with ace-3 suit, with ace-3 of hearts. And unfortunately, we go 3 ways, but it's okay. At least this is the type of hand we want to play multi-way. Back to a flush draw, though. I don't love that, of course. We just check back here. I could have definitely bet here, though. I should have definitely underbet here. I think I missed that bet. And we just got to fold. So, there you have it. Definitely mistakes were made. My bet sizing, I'm still not where I need to be with my bet sizing with value. And I definitely made some questionable calls with gut shots on some raises. So those are things that I take from this session review, and these are things again I need to fix to win more money in my winning hands and some spots where I shouldn't be calling because I'm just not getting the correct odds to call. So definitely an interesting spot. If you like what you saw, do me a favor, please subscribe. Also check out my Twitch channel as well. I'll leave a link in the description. And until next time, Polka Dad.